Thanks everybody for joining us today. This is part of our community series. So today we have the IT certifications for the market. Amir will walk us through lots of different certifications that would help you get back to the market. Yeah, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Ahmed. Thanks for the introduction. Thanks for giving me this opportunity to help this nice community. We all came to Canada one day and we needed help. Ahmed was one of the people who helped me trying to find the job. And actually, he was sending me job posts every day, calling me every day, making sure that I'm okay, I'm fine. But Ahmed, I'm fine, okay. It's going to happen someday. So before going through, just be optimistic. Just don't underestimate yourself and don't underestimate your qualifications. No matter what is your background, you will find something suitable for you, even if you have to start from a lower step or something like that, but then soon you will catch up. Okay.
Yeah. Amir, so just a quick one before you start. So I want to also welcome Eleni. Eleni is a recruiter, and she's with us today. And she.
Hi everyone, how are you?
Hey Eleni, how are you? Thanks for joining us. So.
My pleasure.
Thank you. If you want to maybe give a quick introduction about yourself and how you can help the group here.
Sure. I can't turn my camera on because it's my work computer. Unfortunately, it blocks Microsoft Teams. But yes, my name is Eleni. I am an internal recruiter at a private sector tech company called Rewind. I actually just made the transition from being a consultant in the public sector recruiting, and now I'm back to high tech sales recruiting. So yeah, pretty much Ahmed and I think we met in 2016. I got you a job as a project manager at PwC, and it was actually within I want to say maybe my first few weeks at Hayes, which is a headhunting company. And yeah, we've kept in touch ever since. And then he reached out to me and said that he had this initiative to help the good people of Ottawa that are either getting out of school or just coming over from overseas. And I said I'd be thrilled to help.
Thank you, Eleni. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
We'll be catching up with you in the Q&A session. So back to you, Amir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Eleni. Thank you, Ahmed. Thank you, everyone, for attending this session. I'll start by sharing my LinkedIn profile in the chat. And now I will share my screen. I should take no more than 30 minutes or 40 minutes. Let me start by sharing my screen. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. My name is Amir Alam. I'm here in Canada. I immigrated to Canada since 8 years. I think that I'll switch off my camera so you can see the presentation instead of my photo. My screen. Okay.
Okay. I believe now it's not sharing anymore.
Yep,
okay.
That's because the camera is on, and whenever I speak, it shows my image instead of the presentation. Okay. So can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Amir. Amir, I came to Canada again 8 years ago or 9 years ago, but I settled 100% 5 years ago. I spent the first 4 years on and off between Canada and Egypt because I had a job in Egypt, and I had all my stuff back in Egypt at that time. I used to work as an IT department head for McDonald's Egypt for 15, 16 years, something like that. Before that, I was an IT department head for a hotel company. Now I'm the director of IT operations and security in a non-for-profit organization. It's called Care Canada. I'm proud being a member of Care Canada. It's good, great organization. Regarding the certifications, I'm certified in many areas, and I've been a Microsoft certified trainer, MCT, since 21 years. And I just ordered for free, Microsoft sent it for free. The MCT was 20 years logo on it. It's something nice. So I've been in the training field since more than 20 years in multi-battalion. Okay. So certifications. Why should we get certified? The way I will go through this presentation, I'm going to go slide by slide, and in each slide, feel free to ask questions, elaborate, get your experience. In any presentations, as Ahmed said in the beginning of this session, it's a two-way street. You get something from me, I learn something from your experience too. Okay, so why do we need to have a certification? Mainly because of for myself, I get certified for self-improvement. The technology is evolving, and we have new technology coming every week, every month. We have something new. So to cope with this technology, you need to learn. If you don't, there are multiple ways to learn. You watch videos, you learn on job, you take a training or whatever. But I noticed during my experience, I've been in the job market since 1991, which means over almost 30 years now, or something like that. I noticed that many people do not learn the new stuff or the new technology unless they have to do that. I'm the one who, when I see a new technology and I find that I may need to learn it someday, I start learning it. Getting certified is a way to prove that you really know this stuff. It gives you kind of professional credibility. I repeated it twice on this slide. I don't know why. Maybe it's a mistake, but you see the professional credibility twice. Some jobs require the certification. We'll see some of these certification now. Sometimes you're in a job already and you need to get promoted to show that you got the knowledge. Some jobs require the certification. I used to work for a governmental agency for a few months in Canada here, and one of the job requirements is to get certified as a Microsoft Azure Enterprise Admin within a year. So it was part of the job. I mean, my probation period for a year in the government was put a condition that I must get this certification. So sometimes certification is a job requirement. So there's a lot of reasons why you need to get certified. Okay, any questions?
All good so far.
Let me go to the next slide. IT certifications are there are lots of IT certifications. I cannot talk about all of them. So I selected some of them that we will talk about. And of course, I will not cover everything again in this certification. We'll just give a highlight on the most requested certifications from my point of view. I'm not saying this is the best thing to have, but this is my point of view according to my personal experience during my last 30 years in IT field and IT career. At the end, I will just mention other certifications that also required somehow. And then you can decide which certification is more suitable to you. If you have any questions, please ask during the presentation, or even after the presentation, you will have my email. Feel free to communicate with me anytime. I usually reply quickly to email questions.
So Amir, if you don't mind, maybe we can ask Eleni to let us know, what she find out from her recruitment experience about IT certification specifically. So Eleni, if you wanna share some light.
For sure. So in my experience, IT certifications, the most up-to-date ones, whether it's becoming a Scrum Master, getting your PMP, getting any kind of cybersecurity certification, always looks great on a resume. And I actually just had a few things that I wanted to share with the group. So in my experience, again, I've done private sector recruiting, and I've also done public sector, which is government recruiting. If any of you on the call have any aspirations to join the federal government, you need to have security clearance, and you will not be eligible until you are either a permanent resident for 5 years or you're a Canadian citizen. So I highly, highly recommend, if you're in the process of becoming a citizen, or you're eligible, or even you've been a PR for anything close to around 5 years, depending on where part of the world you're coming from, I highly suggest to try and get your security clearance done, because that just opens up a whole bunch new doors. A lot of the times, government requirements also require Canadian education. So if there's any way that while you're working or while you're looking for work, you can also be getting the Canadian equivalent of your education, that will obviously help greatly as well. I know Willis College offers a few classes. Private sector is not as hard to get into in the sense of meeting their requirements, because a lot of private sector companies don't have many requirements other than the IT certifications. But if it is in government, then I definitely suggest looking at an education equivalency program.
Thanks, Eleni.
No, my pleasure.
Back to you, Amir.
Thank you, Eleni. And with that, yes, I couldn't get a job in the government before having my security clearance. Actually, not the enhanced one after 5 years, but the secret one. And we were able to issue it to me after 8 years or 7 years in Canada, although the requirement was 10 years. But if you are really qualified, they will be able to get it for you. But anyway, as Elaine said,
so we have a question from Mariana, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sorry. It's just a follow-up question regarding what Eleni just said. So when you say education in Canada, do you mean having an actual course in Canada, or when we recognize our education back in our country, let's say, for example, using WES, I don't know if you ever heard about the credential evaluation recognition. So does this count, or you would again advise to get some sort of maybe short time or long course for this education, the Canadian education?
Yes, it definitely, honestly, I can't answer that question fully, only because it really depends what kind of job you're looking for. If it's government, I can almost guarantee you'll have definitely a decently hard time if you don't have some sort of Canadian education. I don't know, I don't want to obviously misspeak, but I don't think the government counts out of country education, unfortunately, which between you and I is crazy. But yeah.
Allow me to interrupt here. I got the job in the I got the job in the government with my Egyptian education after having it qualified by the Canadian the institute. I don't remember what the name, but I sent it to some Canadian organization who do this, who verify my qualifications, and then this is approved qualification and can work in Canada.
So are you a permanent employee, or are you a contractor?
Permanent employee. I resigned after a few months, but I was a permanent employee.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I should have more specified. I only do contract work with the government. I didn't do any permanent hiring. So I'm sure for permanent hiring, that definitely would change the education they're looking for. But unfortunately for contractors, they can't guarantee that people are going to come in with the right credentials.
Yeah. What I know is, as long as there's a few organizations, I don't remember the name, WSIS or something like that, which certify your out of country education. When you have this done, this is recognized by any governmental organization, whether a contract or a permanent. This is according to my personal experience. I got it qualified like that.
Yeah.
I'm just sharing here the link for WES, which is one of them. Sorry, Ahmed, I interrupted you.
I think again the main answer is it depends, but so it's depending on the government department, the regulation, the eligibility, the criteria. But again, I worked also for the government of Canada as a contractor, and with my education from Egypt, and it was also credentialized by WES. Again, this is
it's against the constitution to reject someone if he has the qualification, if you rejected because of his qualification while it's the credentials live, then you can simply sue him easily. I got that from a lawyer. As long as
and how many years? Sorry, how many years ago was this general? Sorry, the only reason why I ask this, so in my last job that I was just at up until last week, the vice president of my company got his education in America, the United States, not overseas anywhere. And we were not able to put him forward on RFPs because he did not have a Canadian education. So maybe something has changed since I've only been doing recruiting for 5 years. So if this was anything pre 5 years, that might have stood, but I'm not 100% sure that that's accurate now. So we might want to check that.
I had this experience when I came to Canada a few years ago, 6-7 years ago. And then my job with the government was back in 2019, year and a half ago, where they recognized my credentials.
I'm unsure because, like I said, like my boss had from the United States, and unfortunately, the job requirement was that they had to have a Canadian degree. So again, like we said, like Ahmed said, it really depends. But obviously, we push you to get that recognition.
Yeah.
I just said to whether what I don't remember the name. Ahmed just mentioned that. If they qualify, then it for sure it can be accepted.
I'm also a contractor, and I believe, Eleni, it's because of the requirements of the contractor. It's when they put on the table and they give all the points, so then we just disqualified based on that, because RFPs are very strict to what they're looking for and what are the requirements. And the case of the Amir, because it was a full-time contract, then they may have been more flexible on these.
Yes, that's what I.
Yeah. Let's go back to the certifications here. That's a good discussion. Thank you, Eleni.
Okay. Thank you for that. Today we'll talk about the project management certifications, IT framework and governance, information security and risk management, and some technical certifications, and maybe Microsoft. And then I will mention some other certifications that are well known. For the project management certifications, there are two types of project management certifications. There are the waterfall or traditional project management, and then there is the agile project management. The traditional project management here, when we talk the project management, the waterfall 1, PMP, and Prince 2, they are not specific to IT. If you are working in project management in any career, construction, I used to work with my PMP as a project manager for construction when I started working 25 years ago in constructions. Actually, PMP started mainly for construction, and then it started to be applied everywhere else. And then we have the agile project management, which started to evolve in year 2000, and it's mainly for software development. And the most well-known or the most required certificate in the agile is the Scrum. We'll talk a little bit about each of them quickly in the next couple of slides. I don't want to go into details what the difference between waterfall method and agile method. But if you have a question on that, we can take that into another session. It's a little bit long discussion, maybe 30 minutes by itself. Okay. So I may be a little bit quick. This is my usual pace. I'm a little bit fast, so feel free to slow me down when needed. Okay, for the project management, we have two main certification bodies. We have the PMI, which maintain the American methodologies for project management. PMI Project Management Institutes. You can visit this Project Management Institute, pmi.org. And we have the British methodologies, which is maintained by an organization called the Axelis. And the certification of Axelis is done through peoplecert.org, or whoever you will take the course with them, you can do the exam on class. Let's start with the PMP Project Management Professional. This certificate is the most recognized certificate in project management. And correct me if I'm wrong, Elena. Most of the contracts with the government of Canada mandate that or require that you have the PMP certificate if you want to work as a project manager. Recently, they started to include PMP or Prince 2. They started to require PMP as a mandatory requirement for the contract or working as a project management with the government of Canada a few years ago. I remember when in 2014 and 2015, I was delivering something like a couple of courses each month for PMP and Prince 2 for contracted project manager with the government of Canada. They needed to earn this certification to be able to continue working with the government. Elena, can you correct me on that? I mean, it's still a requirement, right, or what?
Eleni, yeah, Eleni.
Yeah, Eleni, sorry.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the Prince 2 or PMP, all of the project management roles I've seen definitely do require them. The one thing that's tricky with this, and maybe Ahmed, you can chime in on this, is that you need to have enough working hours in a recognized project management environment. So as much as it's nice to get the certification, we also need to ensure that you are in a role that is recognized for putting in those hours. Is that correct, Ahmed?
Yes, this is part of the, how you really get the certificate itself, Eleni. So, the requirements for the PMP, there is eligibility. And, Amir maybe could touch on that, the eligibility.
Yeah, it's already on the slide.
Yeah, okay. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So PMP, to take the certificates of PMP, you need to have, if you have a bachelor degree, then you have to have 3 years of actual project management experience. If you have a high school only, then you need to have 5 years of actual experience in project management. To be able to take the exam, not a certification, to take the exam. You cannot to take the exam. You have to fill a form that and clarify which project you worked with, and if they suspect something, they may audit you. And if they are audited, then you will be required to ask the organization that you work with to send the proof that you did work in the project management environment. You cannot send that yourself. If, for example, if you say, I was working for ABC organization as a project manager for 3 years and you got audited for PMI to take the exam, then they will ask the ABC organization to send them documents saying that, yes, this guy or this gal did work as a project manager in this project that he mentioned in, or she mentioned in his or her applications as a project manager for these years. Also for the PMP, one other trick is course is mandatory. It doesn't have to be in a specific organization or an accredited organization. It can be anywhere. This is for PMP. PMI-ACP is agile course from PMI. It gives you an agile certification. It requires that you have 8 months of agile experience. And I love this course because it doesn't teach you a specific agile methodology. Let me go back to the previous slide. When you see here agile, you see different agile methodologies: Scrum, XP, there's Cluster 36, there's Kanban. There are a lot of methodologies under the agile umbrella. The PMI ACP, this one, teach you a little bit from everything. It gives you what is a Scrum, what is XP, what is Cluster 360. It gives you the different, what's Kanban. It gives you the different methodologies of agile. So if you take this class or this certificate, you will get a good knowledge about different agile methodology, and it's a good exposure. It's different from taking agile, taking a Scrum Master certificate, but the Scrum Master, you get certified in Scrum. Scrum is the third bullet point in this presentation. This is the PMI or Project Management Institutes in the state, which maintain the American standard for project management. We have another one equivalent to this one, which is Axelos, which is the British one. They have the Prince 2, which is equivalent to PMP, but it's 2 levels: foundation and practitioner. The foundation is just about the term has the common lingo, as you say. So it just gives you an introduction about the project manager, but it's not really equivalent to PMP. You are going to, Prince2 practitioner is the one equivalent to PMP. The good thing with Prince2 is there's no prerequisite to have the Prince2 certification. If you are new to the project management and you want to learn something in project management and get a certificate in there, then I would advise with Prince2. It will give you good knowledge. It will give you a certificate in project management. Yet it will not give you the proper project management job if you don't have a real life experience, but at least it gives you a kickstart to get into the field, which PMP doesn't do. PMP, you have to have the experience to get the certificate. So so I would suggest if you have experience in the project management, just go to PMP directly. If not, you may start for Prince2 if you want to go into the Prince2, if you want to go into the project management field. Prince2 Agile is something like PMI ACP, which is Agile course, which covers, again, lots of Agile methodologies similar to PMI ACP. If you know PMI ACP, it is just similar to Prince2, but the difference from Prince2 Agile is it tries to apply the Prince2 waterfall methodologies within the Agile context. If you are a developer, you may go to the Agile certificates. If you are not a developer, then don't think of the Agile. It won't help you a lot. But again, it depends where are you going to. Most of the private sectors who hire developers require a real experience in development, and they don't look a lot around certificates in that area. We have the Scrum, which is again one of the. It's not one of. It's the most recognized Agile methodologies, and it's a great methodology. I didn't work with the Scrum as a developer, but I used Scrum in daily operation. It has a good methodology, especially when you use it with something like Kanban, and it's really a good certificate. You don't have, I'm not selling courses or selling exams. I'm just telling you what you can look at. You can get some document to read about that. Especially if you are a developer. The Scrum certificates originally started from Scrum.org, which is the main certification body for that. But then other certification bodies like PeopleCert, Exen, which are very well examination institutes, grant these certificates. They have their own courses, their own certifications. So you can get the Scrum certificate from any of these. Again, PeopleCert, Exen used to maintain the British standards for Access, for like Prince2, Agile, ITIL, and a lot of other certifications too. Then we have a new certificate called DevOps. Actually, DevOps is a kind of Agile certificate. Again, it's mainly for the developers, which help developers and operation teams to work together, developers and operations, to quickly build, test, deploy, and monitor application with the speed, quality, and control. It's a new certificate that started 3-4 years ago. The certificate itself, when it started 3-4 years ago, it was very expensive. That's why not a lot of people have it. But it's the methodology itself. It started to become a way of work in many organizations. So far, the certificate itself, it doesn't have a lot of value. What have value is the real hands-on in that.
Yeah.
So
if I can add to this, Amir, from Microsoft perspective, DevOps is a very important tool now for project management too. I use it for my projects, and also Microsoft right now, because of the pandemic, there is so many training that are free for people to really get access to. So if you're looking to get DevOps training, there is multiple posts that I posted on my LinkedIn for the DevOps free training as well. Back to you, Amir, sorry.
Yes, thank you. No, this is very helpful. Yes, DevOps is something that definitely you need to look at, even if you are not a developer. Okay, any questions here around the certificate, PMP, Prince2, Scrum?
I think maybe we can ask Eleni again. Sorry, Eleni, to put you on the spot today. Just, if from your perspective, what are the maybe hourly rates range, for example, for people who has certificates versus those who doesn't have certificates? What are the variations, if you will?
I'll be completely honest. A lot of the roles that I've worked on, a lot of the candidates do have extensive Canadian experience, whether they started 20 or 15 years ago. A lot of the profiles that I work with, I haven't worked too much with new residents to Canada, essentially, but there can make a significant price jump in the private sector having these certifications. Public sector, like we said, like the majority of the RFPs or the roles will require them. Like that's one of the requirements. But in the private sector, having a certification is always just going to make you stand out a little bit more. So if you're going to be an incorporated contractor, I'd say for developers, I've seen anywhere from $45 an hour up to $80 an hour if they're senior enough and they have enough certifications.
Thank you, Eleni.
Yeah.
Back to you, Amir.
Thank you. Then we have ITIL. ITIL 4 is the newest certification. ITIL, there was an ITIL 3. Before that, there were ITIL 2. Currently, ITIL is maintained by, again, it's a British standard. It's very well known across the world. It's becoming a mandatory to have at least the ITIL foundation. I wouldn't recommend go much more into the intermediate level, but it's becoming mandatory in many areas to have the ITIL foundation, the one here in the bottom. And actually, this course is a fun course, nice course, and it's required by many organizations. And it's not tough. Course is not mandatory. All other courses above that one, the course is mandatory to get a certification or to be able to take the exam. And courses are very expensive. They're very variable, but I didn't see a lot of requirement to have certificates in that, except in very few positions if you are going to manage the department or something like that. Actually, I myself took the full tracks for this one and the previous one because I used to manage the IT department and I found it useful. But again, foundation is the one that you must have if you are going to work in IT. And the course is not mandatory. The exam is not tough. There's a free sample exam on the official site, and I recommend. This is one of the certifications that I highly recommend.
Yeah. So I mean, just to give a perspective, so how long do you think people need to study for the ITIL, and where they can find some free material to study this course? If you can maybe share some links.
I'm not sure about free material. I never looked at the free material, but the ITIL 4 there are not a lot of free material for ITIL 4 foundation. Yet there is a book that's sold by Axel itself. I believe it's 45 pound sterling pound, which is I believe 60 Canadian dollars. This covers everything. If someone wants to study it on his or her own, it may take a couple of weeks, 3 weeks or something. But with training course, I delivered this course a lot with multiple organizations. Usually we do the course in 2 days and the exam on the third day, and the pass rate is 100%. It's an easy course, highly valuable certificate in your CV.
Thank you, Amir. Yeah, and then we can maybe find some YouTube channel that is having the course in case you're interested to go through.
Let me just add here. You asked, I was curious when you asked, so I searched here. I believe LinkedIn Learning offers something too. I just found a couple of classes here. LinkedIn Learning, Linda.
Excellent.
Great.
Yeah, and the lynda.com is available for free if you have the library card, either in Ottawa or other provinces. The library card can give you access to online resources, and lynda.com is one of them. And I think Lynda maybe offer the ITIL within its portfolio. Sorry, Amir.
Yes. Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. That's good to know. Also, if you want to take the exam, you don't have to go through anyone. You can just book the exam directly. If you go to peoplecert.org, the exam, I believe, is 360 something US dollars or Canadian dollar. I don't remember. You can just book the exam and take the exam at home, anytime, anywhere you like. I can also help by giving a discounted voucher if you find this amount is expensive. I can get 20% discount on exam. So if you want to book, just approach me. I will give you a discounted voucher or tell you how to get the discounted voucher for the exam.
Thank you, Amir.
Same for Prince 2 and Prince 2 Agile.
Oh, you got an offer, 20% discount. Thank you.
No, actually, I am incorporated myself, and one way to improve myself, to continue my education and improve myself, I keep the accreditation, so I have access to discounted vouchers. That's how. So, for example, if you want to go for Prince 2, you can study on your own, watch these Lenda videos or whoever videos, and you can just go to peoplecert.org and book the exam, or reach out to me. I can send you the discounted vouchers.
Yeah, and if there's enough, maybe let's say interest, maybe Amir, if you want to have another call later on, just dedicate it on one of those topics.
Up to you. That's fine. Up to you. If needed, then I'm happy to do that.
Thank you, Amir.
Okay. Then with information security and risk management, the most wanted certificate in this area is CISM, which is done by ICS2.org. This is the most wanted security certificate. If you want to get into security career, then I highly recommend this one. It's a tough certificate. It's not an easy one at all. You can, of course, if you have enough experience, you can study it on your own. That the course is not mandatory for the exam, but to get the certificate, the exam is not enough. You can just okay. You have to have the proper experience, but it's not like PMP. PMP, you cannot take the exam if you don't have the experience. Here, you can take the exam, but you will not be certified unless you get that required experience. I believe the required experience is 3 years or 3 to 5 years in information security, and it covers a lot of areas, a lot of domains. There are other two certificates, which is SSCP, CCSP, which are a little bit lower than CISP. They are not well recognized like CISP. Both of them also are from ICS2. But if you are going to this area, then I would recommend the CISP one. Again, it's very important and looks very well on your CV.
So maybe let's again just check with Eleni. How often did you see those certificates required in job market?
Honestly, I'm going to be honest. The only one that I really see the most is the CISSP, the CCSP, and then the CISA, the CISM, the CRISC, and I have seen COBIT 5, but I think that it might be a little grandfathered, if I'm not mistaken.
No, COBIT 5 is a very old certificate. There were COBIT 4, COBIT 5 is more than 5 years old now, but it's not required as much as the other one certificates, because COBIT 5 is more like creating policies, procedures. I didn't even get the certificate. I delivered the courses for other organizations before the COBIT 5, but I was never keen to get the certificate. It's not required, but it's a good one. Anyone will work or will help writing down policies, procedures, putting a standard for controls or how to control the IT environment, then it should refer back to COBIT 5. But the certificate itself is not that of that value.
Agreed.
Yes. CISM, CISA, CRISC are from ISACA. I don't know how long they are in the market, but CRISC is only 11 years in the market. I took the CRISC grandfathering in 2010, but CISM and CISA are from very far along. I don't know from when. I got them in 2010. And all of these certificates require continual education, which means you have to maintain activities in the profession to maintain the certificates. You have to work in the field to maintain your certificate of CISM or CISA. CISM is certified security information manager. CISA is about auditing, certified security auditors. CRISC is risk professionals. The difference between CISM, CISA, and CISP is CISP, which is the first one on the top, is it tests your technical expertise. While CISM, CISA is a high level, is a more managerial level. It doesn't test your technical expertise. While CISP tests your technical and managerial expertise, but more focused on the technical part. SSCP and CCSP are new certificates, less than 3 to 5 years ago, which came as a kind of easier certificate than CISP, and as a kind of to provide a certificate for cloud administrators. But if you have CISP, it's much higher than SSP and SSCP and CCSP. CISM, CISA are good, and it's very good for managerial level, but they are not as technical as CISP. So what are you going to do? Where are you going to work with? What's going to be your job description? They will decide whether you need these or those.
So Amir, if you don't mind, just let us know how long investment of time we need to put to maybe be certified. Again, a range of weeks, months, for CISP.
If you take the class, each of them is a week class, and then you can take the exam after that.
Okay.
If you're going to study it on your own, this is going to take you a lot of time.
Okay.
The course will make your life much easier, but with CISM, CISA, CRISC, you can take the class and take the exam within a few days after the class. But with CISP, you can take the class, but you will need a couple of weeks to study after the class because the exam is not easy and it's very long.
Thank you.
Yeah. There are other certificates in security. I didn't see a requirement for them. Actually, when I came to Canada and I had them on my CV, I was advised to remove them from my CV because they will scare the recruiter. I'm not sure if it's true or not, but actually I had to remove them from my CV, which is CH, Certified Ethical Hacker, or Certified Security Analyst. It's ECSA, not ESTA. It's ECSA, EC Council Certified Penetration Tester, Security Analyst. They are nice certificates. I didn't see a requirement for them. As I mentioned, I was told it's going to scare the recruiter. In any case, is that true that these certificates scare the recruiters?
In the sense of that you would hack them?
I don't know, but I mean, I had them, but I didn't see any value of adding them.
And where were they? Were they on the certificate, like the certification part of your LinkedIn?
I added to LinkedIn because I'm certified instructor. For me, the only value I have them that I deliver courses. I deliver the classes.
Yeah. My question is, where on your profile did you have them? Did you have them in the certification section, or did you have them like in the title of your name?
No, in the certification section in my CV. I just added them to my LinkedIn profile recently when I'm formally a security director in my organization. So I added them in my profile. But before that, when I came, I didn't put them anywhere.
Okay, well, I don't. I would never discriminate based on the certifications, but I always think if you have them, you might as well put them up. So maybe they were just a little bit of chickens.
Okay. So this is from my small experience are the most required certificates. Then we have a lot of technical certification. I would recommend get a study, use what Ahmed just mentioned, the free courses on Microsoft. There are basics courses which for Microsoft to know what's Microsoft 365, like the 900 series, or Office 365, or security series, which is 500 series. Identity management, mobile security. There are a lot of courses in that area. Which I recommend to acquire, or at least to study. You have a lot of free courses or free videos posted by Microsoft. What I put here XX because sometimes they have MS, sometimes they have other abbreviations, depending on whether it's implementation or administrating or designing. So these are kind of technical certification. With Microsoft certification, it doesn't say that you are a professional. You need to have a real hands-on experience, but you will not pass these exams if you don't have hands-on experience. So it's kind of getting you an edge in the CV. I didn't see a requirement for this certification, except when I got hired by the government. It was a requirement for me. That's why I got the enterprise administrator to make sure to be able to continue my job. I didn't see it a lot, but for example, in my current organization, we were looking for IT technician. So we received something like, sorry?
No, go ahead.
Okay, so we received something like 200 applicants, 200 CVs, 200 applicants applied for this job. So we didn't put in the job requirement this technical certification, but the candidate, I mean, the one who is going to be hired for this contract is going to work on Office 365. So when we are filtering the CVs, we definitely recognize if someone has this certificate and give him an edge. It's not a requirement. If he has it, then it's an edge. Anyway, there are not a lot who have this certificate because it's new certificate, less than 2 years old. So it's not all of them. I mean, I'm talking about the 500 specifically, which is new one. So having a technical certification, Microsoft Azure would be great. SharePoint, I didn't see modern certificates for SharePoint. All certificates and training courses that are official by Microsoft are for the previous version of the SharePoint. But the SharePoint is one of the technical training that you need to look at, whether on the free training on Microsoft document, spin up the free Azure tenant Microsoft to provide for anyone can spin up a free tenant for a month with $200 credit, who can practice all of this stuff. But be careful, because when you spin up a tenant, every time you spin a tenant, you will need a different phone number, a real phone number, not sorry, Ahmed, I'm not asking anyone to misuse your organization's giveaway, but it's a way to test these technologies and learn about it. SharePoint is one of the evolving technologies and being required a lot. One more reason that Microsoft is booming now, or there's a lot of requirements for this for someone who has experienced Microsoft, is that Ahmed, correct me if I'm wrong, but the government of Canada started to move a lot of their agencies to Microsoft 365 clouds, especially after you build your data centers in Canada. And I believe there's one in Toronto and one in Montreal. Is that correct, Ahmed?
Yes, and again, Amazon is doing the same. So it's most companies are offering the same thing. But again, Microsoft has maybe more expansion with the government for sure.
Yes, for the government of Canada, they need this expertise. As I mentioned, they require me to get this certificate. So this is those are some certificates that I wanted to talk about. There are other certificates like the Amazon one, AWS, but I don't have expertise in that area. TOGAF, if you are looking into architecture, business analysis is very important, and the good project manager is a good business analyst. ISO certification is a whole new area here, and ISO 20,000, ISO 27,000, ISO 34,000. All of these ISOs are related to IT. There's not a lot of requirement in this certification, unless if you are going to work as an auditor. Then you may be required to have the ISO certificate. Six Sigma, if you're going to work in quality. Lean IT, again, it's part of the Six Sigma, Agile, eliminating the waste. A lot of other certifications that you may explore, but I just presented some of certificates that are needed from my point of view. I took much more than I planned. So I apologize for that, but if anyone wants to ask a question, I'm here to answer or email me.
Yeah. So first of all, thank you, Amir. This is really definitely very beneficial and very fruitful. So we'll maybe check with the group if you have a question, if you wanna unmute yourself and ask your question, or if you wanna state it in the chat. So, Eleni, do you have any follow-up comments on what Amir shared? And from your experience, from your point of view, what would you advise people to focus on certificates that could give them an edge?
Certification wise, again, I think all the certs that Amir had included were great. Definitely the PMP, definitely the Prince 2, ITIL 3, any kind of Microsoft certification. Again, because like Amir said, the government is moving more towards Microsoft certs. I'm trying to think of anything else I can think of off the top of my head. If you are trying to get a job and you have any questions about interviewing or maybe where you should apply or how you should go about reaching out to the individuals there, feel free to reach out to me. I'm sure Amir also can give a few pointers as well. But I think overall, the most important thing is to make sure that whether you're getting an education or you're getting certifications, you're always working to obtain some sort of like educational proof or educational certification. So the more credentials you have, it will be easier to get a job.
Thanks. Good. So I think Thomas is asking a question. So among all those options, which one should I invest? So I think Thomas, the answer would be it depends, depending on which job are you really targeting. And every job has a different certificate, and also different salary ranges and other criteria. So the answer is basically it depends. But you may want to check job descriptions and make some informational interviews with people who are having the same profile, what you're targeting, to get a better idea about what certificates which would you really invest time in. Does that answer your question?
Okay, well, Raquel just asked a question. She said, I am PMP.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, yeah. She said, I am PMP certified, but I don't have experience with IT projects. Which certification should I have to find jobs in IT field? I thought about ITIL. Is that good? Yeah, I agree. I agree with ITIL. I think if you're just starting and you have the PMP and ITIL complement each other nicely on a profile.
Yeah, and as Amir mentioned, ITIL is very easy. It's not difficult, and you could maybe grab it in weeks, depending on your mode of study and the material you're studying from. And again, Amir could maybe help you if you want to.
Yeah, I can help. I can help with that. I can find some material. I developed myself some material. I didn't update it since a while, but I can share that material. I have no problem sharing that material. And also, if you want to get counted voucher exam, just let me know. I will send it to you. again, there's no profit out of it. I'm just helping people like I was helped when I came to Canada.
Thank you.
Amazing. And I don't know too much about the Lean Six Sigma certifications. I know a decent amount about it. I got up to about my green belt, but I know that there's not too much of a cost to those either. So the Lean Six Sigma, I would definitely look into getting those certifications too.
Thank you.
And I'll write it in the chat so they know.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I had that in my last slide. I myself delivered the Lean Six Sigma the green belt and black belt a couple of times with another. Can I say an organization name, or is it going to be an advertiser?
No, you can say it. It's okay.
Okay, I delivered that course with Knowledge Academy. I'm not sure you know Knowledge Academy, and but I didn't deliver it through my own organization before. I delivered for Knowledge Academy, and I delivered to lots of people, but they were either working in manufacturing or quality control in Bank of Canada, for example. I'm not sure if you know them, Ahmed. They are. It turned out to be one of the Egyptian community here in Canada, and
nice.
yeah, and in one I'm not sure, it's governmental agency. I'm not sure if it's if I should say the name, but they're working on a 25 years old project, which they do a lot of tests, and they have hundreds of brothers that they analyze the quality of it. Those were my clientele for Six Sigma. It's very good on the CV, but I'm not sure of IT application. The Lean Six Sigma, yes, the Lean IT, I agree with you 100%. It's very useful. It gives you an insight on how to eliminate the waste of your process. We are using it. All of us are using it organically, but not in a formalized way.
Thank you, Amir. I think Muhammad was going to ask a question, but Muhammad, are you on mute again?
Yes, I am here. Sorry, I have technical issue, so I switched to my cell phone. I have a question. Oh, not a question point. I just got my BMB in last October. So anyone wants any material or any information about BMB can reach me, and I will handle the material for him. And one more thing, just to add to Amir. Recently, since January, BMB changed the strategy for exam, and they include more than 60% of BMB. They focus about agile. So I think now the BMB certification has like 40% waterfall and 60% or more agile. This because even the civil constructions now everything under uncertainty is working as agile. Most of the project now is agile.
Right now.
Just I need to add this, and thank you very much for providing this information.
Thank you, Muhammad. That's a good point.
Ask your question. So he's saying that sometimes he feels like a cycle because the certifications are sometimes very expensive, like the Microsoft ones that I want to pursue. Is there any course or any program that provides discount or vouchers on the conclusion? I'm looking for ones on M365 career.
I'm sorry for interruption. Microsoft exams are the cheapest exam among all of I presented here. Microsoft exam is $165 the exam, while if you look at PMT, it's $550 or $455 if I remember. If you look at any other CISP, it's $600 US. Actually, Microsoft exams are the cheapest exam. I'm sorry, but this is the fact.
Yeah, and I believe Ahmed could even speak better about that, but I know that some links that Ahmed shared on LinkedIn, I sign up for some courses that they are free, and then at the end you can take the certification, which is also free. It's just the fundamentals, but it's still like something to put on your resume. Other than that, I saw the other day, I don't have the link here, but I can try to find for you guys It was a link where if you are out of jobs and you want to have one of the Microsoft certifications, you could apply for that one certification they were giving for free. If I find the link, I will share on the community Facebook and LinkedIn. So if you join the community, you may find there. It's just when you finish the call, you won't be able to access the chat. But yeah, and I agree with you, Amir. I have Lean Six Sigma, I have PMP, and the Microsoft are the cheapest ones. And Ahmed, if you want to add something.
No, I think you're good, Mariana. Thank you for sharing. Thank you, Amir, also. Okay, any other questions, or should we take the selfie now? Perfect. Thank you so much, everybody. And thanks, Eleni. Thanks, Amir, for your time today. We really appreciate you. We really appreciate everything that you're doing for this community. Please.
My pleasure.
Continue to join us. Continue to ask questions. Again, be curious. Don't be shy. We're here to help you. We've been in your situation before. We know how it is, and we can help you being together. So if you need any help, reach out to Amir, to Eleni, myself, Mariana, or anyone. Again, this is something that we really do passionately to help everybody. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amit. Thank you, Len.
Have a good night.